And President Trump's tough talk with North Korea today should not come as a surprise. It's an approach that he's taken for months. Remember this?
We are settling it. We're going to do something now. One way or the other, we have to do something. We cannot let that situation fester. We cannot let it happen. Little Rocket Man, he is a sick puppy.
North Korea is a country ruled as a cult. At the center of this military cult is a deranged belief in the leader's destiny to rule as parent protector over a conquered Korean peninsula and an enslaved Korean people.
This man will not get away with what he's doing, believe me. And if he utters one threat in the form of an overt threat, which, by the way, he has been uttering for years, and his family has been uttering for years, or if he does anything with respect to Guam or any place else that's an American territory or an American ally, he will truly regret it, and he will regret it fast.
Joining us now with reaction are Florida Republican congressional candidate Lieutenant Colonel Michael Waltz, co-author of Reaper, Brigadier General Tony Tata, and U.S. Army veteran Brett Velikovich. All right, gentlemen, I'm sure you've kept up with it as I have, and it's almost like a game of chess. And clearly, this is something that has been is the way that negotiations have taken place in the past. But General Tata, I'm going to start with you first. We did get 3 hostages back, and there is apparently some destruction of nuclear sites and a promise to destroy more. Have we given up anything in exchange for that?
We've given up nothing, and we've gotten everything that we could have wanted before the summit happened. And what we're seeing is the art of the deal in action here, Judge, and live before our own eyes. For those who didn't read the book, they get to now watch the movie. And President Trump understands that he is a commander-in-chief of the most powerful country in the world, and he mentioned $700 billion twice, during his press conference today, and that number is the size of our defense budget, and this was his strategic messaging to North Korea. He understands the leverage that he has here, and that $700 billion number of our defense budget is 25 to 30 times the size of the gross domestic product of North Korea. So if you're on the North Korean side and you hear that number, that's an overwhelming figure. And then he just magically weaves together the diplomatic, information, military, and economic elements of national power, and really that's the maximum pressure campaign that he referenced in his speech today.
All right, Brett, and I'll go to you. The role of China in all of this, the president seems to have indicated that after a second meeting with President Xi of China, that Kim Jong-un seemed to have changed his tone. He signaled that, I believe it was yesterday.
And playing puppet master this whole entire time. From day one, this has always been just as much a negotiation with China as it is with North Korea. I mean, do you think that the Chinese want to see thousands of U.S. soldiers 200 miles off their border sitting there in South Korea? So they've been playing us all along, and we have to be very careful what we do here. But I think what we've seen just overall with these talks is we've been witnessing today a master class in negotiation that's been playing out on the world stage. The fact of the matter is that these deals are all about leverage, okay? And we're the strongest country in the entire world. We don't need to listen to a country or bow down to a country that has the economic GDP of less than the size of Honduras. And so it's very important when it comes to all these talks that Trump is very careful about being too accommodating to Kim Jong-un, because what it does is it risks this recognition for him of what he's always believed would happen all along when it comes to having this nuclear arsenal. So this deal has to get done, but it needs to be done right or not at all. And in the end, we've taken back control here.
All right. And, Michael, I want to ask you about the, this morning, the president pulls out of the summit. The last thing tonight is that North Korea is saying, we're ready to sit down at any time. What does that mean for people in the military? I mean, that's your background. That's who you are.
That's right.
What is going on in the Pentagon right now?
Well, President Trump has shown strength from day one as commander-in-chief. And I think he's been absolutely right on North Korea since day one, despite all of his critics. This is not President Obama who's going to take the military option off the table before he even gets to the table. President Trump knows and has always known that diplomacy needs the credible use and needs the credible threat of military force. And not only do we have that, the North Koreans have seen President Trump train and equip and fund our military how it needs to be funded. So he has come into this with three key preconditions, in that military exercises with our South Korean allies and our Japanese allies will continue. Denuclearization means exactly that it is full, verifiable denuclearization. And that key here is that the sanctions will continue. So what do I hope to see next from our commander-in-chief is that another round of sanctions, the 7th Fleet sitting off the coast of North Korea, and that for everyone calling him a warmonger, they're absolutely wrong. This president knows it's that credible use, and our veterans are cheering him on, that is actually going to mean peace through strength.
All right. And General Tata, what about the fact that there hasn't been a firing of a missile by North Korea in months?
Well, that's exactly right, Judge. For all of the left that was rejoicing this morning, just to digress for a second, they've defended Hamas, they've defended MS-13, and they've defended now Kim Jong-un and North Korea, all in the same month, and that's pretty amazing if you think about it. But there's been no action from North Korea militarily, and as Michael just mentioned, we've kept doing our military drills. We've kept doing what we're doing. We've kept applying our pressure, and we're tightening the screws every day. And that is the leverage that President Trump has, and he knows he has it. And you walk away from the deal if you're not getting the terms that you want. And that's what President Trump is doing here. And it's just very textbook what he is doing. And so he knows he's got the leverage, and he's executing based upon being the leader of the most powerful country in the world, as opposed to apologizing, as President Obama did, and sending pallets of cash to get detainees back and all of that insanity.
All right.
And, Judge, if I can just jump in and remind everyone, President Reagan walked away from the summit, walked away from Gorbachev when they tried to move the goalposts, and that's exactly how President Trump is acting here.
Okay, and Brett, I want to ask you one question. I only have about 15 seconds left. We talked about China and the role of China. As we continue in this tariff back and forth, China is sending us a signal, too, by saying we can manipulate Kim Jong-un, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the biggest problem with this, is that you're negotiating with a superpower here. But the fact of the matter is that our military is ready. We hold the cards right now. We left this deal on our terms. And right now we're in the best position we can be for these negotiations. So in the end, this is a deal that's meant to be for the entire world. It's not just America, and we can't fail at it, and the president won't.
Okay. All right. Thank you to all of you.